Okay, welcome back to Game Over Cancer 2022, everybody. We're gonna get started with our next run here. It's gonna be done by CthulhuCrisis. He's playing Chrono Trigger, Jets of Time Randomizer. We originally were gonna have Procky do the commentary, but due to last-minute technical difficulties, we're gonna have Akuhe do it instead, which should cause no problems. The category for this run is gonna be Legacy of Cyrus. This is roughly 2 hours, and we're gonna see how he does. Good luck.
How's it going, guys? I'm Cthulhu Crisis, and I've got Akuhish here with me. How's it going, Aku?
It's going good.
We will go ahead and get started, and as we go through the beginning here, I'll have you go ahead and explain the run a little bit here. So I'm going to start my timer here, and we'll start at 0.
Yeah, so we're gonna start out with 2 of the 7 random characters. But we need to get Frog and Magus in the party. Go through Northern Ruins. Hey look, there's Magus and Ayla.
Yeah,
So we
this is
got
actually a
half-
pretty great start. So this gives us a few things we can do. So this is I guess we should talk about the general game real quick. This is the Chrono Trigger randomizer called Jets of Time. It's an open world randomizer that really spices up the way you can play Chrono Trigger. And in this run, this is one of the more thematic runs or categories. And this one we have to find Frog and Magus, complete Cyrus's grave, Magus's castle, and Ozzy's fort. And it can be pretty interesting because there are some changes in this category. There's no access to the future and a few other things. But this is a really good starting team because they have high physical attack compared to everyone else at level 1.
Typically, if you do get Magus, he's available towards the end of the game. So his starting equipment is also the same as that time of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to change our battle speed. And then this is one of about 4 primary grind spots we use at the beginning of these runs. Oh my goodness. If I can get the birds to attack me. So because we're at the very start of the run, we know what the RNG is right now. And so we can kind of use that to our advantage. We know we're going to crit on the 2nd, 4th, and 6th attack. So we're going to make sure that we take out these birds with the crit.
And if we do not take out the birds in one hit, they will counterattack with a chaos style attack, causing our characters to possibly attack each other.
Yeah, which is not helpful. Not ideal. Seeing some familiar faces in chat. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. Tailspin, Dino Tail. So this grind is special because it gets us 2 techs, whereas most of the other grinds only get you 1. The next thing I'm going to do is this is Desert. Now, we're not strong enough to beat Desert yet, but there's usually some pretty good gear in Desert. So we're going to run through here just to see if maybe we can get some good gear. The beginning of this game is getting you prepared to be able to do all the dungeons you want to at the start. So we're just trying to get geared up to save as much time as we can. It's worth spending a little bit of time if it saves enough later. And that red vest already made this worth it. Sometimes the sand is the final boss.
Yeah, trying to get these chests can be tricky. The sand's moving you and you just can't hit that chest marker. And with the rando, the boss is forced into the upper right of that room. So if we don't go there, we know we do not trigger that boss.
Ooh, that was way more than I meant to buy of those. But I need to sell something real quick, because I know I'm going to need just a little bit more gold than what I have. Just
At
in
least
case I need the snail stop item, which is going to be our first key item check here. And it's something you can see before you purchase it. And you can make the decision if it's worth 10,000 gold.
And at least those heals are cheap.
That's true. And they can come in handy. Pendant. We're doing pendant. I was really hoping we would get early pendant because I have a route for this, guys. So early pendant lets us unlock all these special magical chests that have incredibly good gear in them. And I've been working on a route to get them efficiently, and I think I've figured that route out. So that's perfect. I get to showcase that. So there are 10 of these sealed chests that we can get to easily. We just picked up 2 of them. Now we come here to the castle for one more. Another slasher 2 for that character we don't have yet. Although a slasher 2 might convince me to keep him if I do find him. And this section usually takes about 3.5 minutes to grab all these chests, but if you get a couple good pieces of gear, you'll save that time. Not a third eye, though.
No, that third eye doesn't do much. Not in this run, anyway. Like, if we went up against Terra Mutant or Lavos 2, it might help. Because your evade goes up immensely and you might dodge that attack.
Now, eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed we're not supposed to have Ayla and Magus at the start of the game. So can you explain a little bit about what's randomized in these runs, Aku?
I can try. Well, we start out with 2 random characters, and there are certain spots where we can get other random characters.
Swallow. I really need Chrono now.
Yeah, you can. Every chest in the game has a random item in it based on a tier list. And all of these sealed chests are on the higher end of the tier list. So we're getting the end game gear. The weapons, armor.
Yeah, and we still have to hope it's for characters we're going to use. And honestly, we haven't pulled a lot for Magus, even though this run does require having Magus and Frog in the party. So ideally, we would be finding some gear for Magus. But we're not getting quite that lucky yet. But we've got 3 more chests, and if we find Chrono, like as our first character, another slasher 2. Alright, so we've got 2 more chests, and we finish up the run right here. Right back kind of where we started.
Another thing that's randomized is the tech order. So we don't know what techs we're going to learn until we look at the screen and see what's next.
So I'm going to go ahead and equip some things. Just so that we can continue. So after grabbing all those chests, because we just got really lucky to have that opportunity, we will go get our second free key item. So the first one cost 10,000 gold. This second one is going to just require talking to somebody for a minute. And then going to get it from his wife. So, as far as shopping goes, we found everything we wanted except revives. So we're still kind of looking for revives. Oh, that's a good sword right there. That's Frog's best sword, and something we need for go mode. That was the Grand Leon, which is, if you've played Vanilla Chrono Trigger, that is the Masamune 2, but we've given it back kind of its original Japanese name.
And it also acts as tools, so we can open up the northern ruins.
So I'm going to the guaranteed revives, which we know there's one shop here that is guaranteed to sell revives. And I can probably find a couple things to sell here. I don't want to spend too much time here. Yeah, that should be good. Let's get us a few revives for safety here. So I'm going to take a quick look at my techs. I'm on the way to learning Lightning 2, and I don't have much as far as Ayla can use. So really, for this first dungeon, we're just going to be kind of powering our way through it with basic attacks. Alright, so we are coming to Cathedral here. This is the kind of the tutorial dungeon of the vanilla game. And we come here because it unlocks a character at the end of it. Now that character could be Frog, and obviously we need Frog to be able to finish the run. Now we get a character after this fight, and then we get another character after all of this cathedral area. Part of me is hoping... I would love to find Frog and Chrono. Nice. So who will our first character be? Ooh, it is Chrono. So I could absolutely equip some gear on Chrono, and if he has a good first tech, this could be alright. Ayla is a really good third teammate for this category, but only if she if you get the dual tech drop kick. If we don't get that, then it becomes a lot harder with Ayla on board. I think we go straight to star speed. What do you think?
Star speed is awesome. Get guaranteed first turn. First
Ooh, a hit
attack.
ring too? I'm just going straight with the hit ring.
Make sure he hits.
Yeah, Chrono doesn't always look where he's attacking, so he likes to miss his attacks. And I'm not using any techs or anything right now because Ayla doesn't have anything that's going to be super useful except Dino Tail, and I don't have enough mana or magic to use Dino Tail. Not yet, at least. A couple more levels, I will. Man, I like these shelter drops.
Yeah, shelter drops are amazing.
Yeah, it's a 1200 gold item that fully heals health and magic at save points. So any of them you don't have to buy, that's a pretty big win.
Yeah, and at times I'll use them instead of ethers.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, another hit ring.
That Diablos on the bottom there does not exist in that
Oh, really?
switch room. Yeah, so if you watch me run, I just run through him. It saves not much time, but every little bit of time helps.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
And it looks cool.
So there, I wanted to make sure we ethered up because I wanted to be able to try to use Dino Tail. See if that'll do enough to take these guys out a little bit quicker.
Yeah, the Dino Tail formula is Ayla's max
Oof.
health divided by something. So, like, the further away it is from her max health, the stronger it is.
Yeah, what I should have done is I should have not healed her, and I could have filled up her mana. She still wouldn't have killed them. She could have got them all one-shottable. But the nice thing is none of these fights are terribly long, even if you don't get a good AoE, and we're still getting a shelter after every fight. Spin Cut is a pretty nice tech. It is the damage of 2 attacks, which means we kind of just doubled Chrono's usefulness a little bit for this first boss.
Yeah, it's basically a guaranteed crit is what it turns into.
Now, we're also 2 tech points away from Lightning 2. But I don't think Lightning 2 is going to make a difference on what I do next. So I don't think it's going to be a situation where I'm going to go grind it out to get it. Because it's not going to help me in this boss.
Yeah, with the sword that you got on Chrono, it's the attack is going to do more than lightning.
Yeah, I agree. So this is the Chancellor, except plot twist, it's not. It's Yakra. I want to make sure that every move I make is efficient. I don't think Magus auto-attacking in this fight is going to be efficient. Tailspin has a chance to, so I want to see what Tailspin does. Yeah, so I think Tailspin's worth doing again. But Magus would only attack for like 80 or 90 damage.
Yeah, I was going to say he should be hitting for about 100, maybe 120.
But that will end our friend Yakra.
Yeah, and Yakra has 1,000 hit points, I think it is, or right around there.
Somewhere in that ballpark, yeah. So this is not a bad team. If I find Frog here, I'm pretty sure I swap him in for Ayla and we go straight to Magic Cave. Or Hecarim Cave, not Magic Cave.
And the real Chancellor's just sitting in his chest, biding his time because Yakra is scary.
Yeah, can you blame him? Yakra is scary.
I do not.
So, in a Legacy of Cyrus run compared to a normal Jets run, oh, it's Robo. So that means Frog is either on Dactyl or in Burrow. So, that doesn't really change what I do here. I don't swap Robo in unless I pull something great for him. So that's a little unfortunate, because that means we're still looking for Frog, and we need both halves of the Masamune. But we have a lot of places we can check, because us finding Robo also unlocks another check we can do. So it's going to be interesting. But first things first, we're going to save, and then go back in. We can go fight Zombor on the bridge, which is one of the fights I think a lot of people remember from Vanilla. We can go fight that fight, and we get to see what the item is before we fight him. And we can decide if it's worth it. So he's going to give us the key item. Thomas Pop. We'll probably keep it, because there's a pretty good chance we could need Thomas Pop later. Thomas Pop unlocks another dungeon that we may end up going to later in the run. But we do enough damage that we'll kill this boss pretty quick, and we can use the XP.
Yeah, Thomas Pop is basically a fetch quest, but that dungeon also gives 3 power tabs.
And it's really nice because there's, if you know what you're doing, there's only one encounter in there besides the boss, and you can run from it. And then the boss isn't hard to output damage.
Yeah, you got 5 boss turns to take out the boss. And with this fight, if you didn't know, you can hit Ozzy 3 times and the fight is over.
Yeah, that is something I never knew until I played Jets of Time Randomizer. I never knew that as in any of my playthroughs.
Think it might have been in the strategy guide, but you'd have to shell out money for that thing.
Yeah, and in Vanilla, you do not have AoEs by this point. Like any AoE spells or anything.
Yeah,
there you go, Chrono.
You're just learning Ice Sword and Fire Sword.
So we are hitting about the 21-minute mark, getting through Zombor. It's a little bit slow, but we just found a rainbow. Well, Chrono, welcome to the team. The rainbow is Chrono's strongest weapon, and its effect is it 4 times more likely to crit, or is it 4 times, like, double crit damage or something?
It's a 70% crit rate.
That's it.
Shiva Edge is a 4 times crit.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. You love to find a rainbow this early.
Yeah, the rainbow has a higher weapon damage.
And to think, I easily could have made the choice not to do this bridge to save a little bit of time if I didn't need the Thomas Pop.
And gear can make or break the seed for you.
Yeah, absolutely. This fight is pretty mindless with the level of gear we have right now. It'd be better if we had a good weapon for Magus. So we're still on the lookout for that. Which kind of makes me want to get to Mount Low as early as I can. But we have to find some key items first to unlock that. There go the legs.
And Zombor Bottom's script is do not attack until it reaches the far right side of the screen. But it has lower HP than the top half.
Yeah, I'm okay with all this gear. So, we have one other thing. We took that bromide from that first dungeon. We can come here now and trade it for some tabs. And once we know exactly what team we're going with, we will spin those tabs. Now, the only downside about having Chrono on your team is he doesn't bring much to the magic side of things. So what we're going to do, he did start with Lightning 2 though, which will make Hecarim Cave a very easy check we can do. So we will go do that. And then I'm going to save the power tabs for Frog. I want one of the power tabs for Magus, and I'll use the other on Frog. And then magic tabs are going on Magus. Alright, we're going to run through Hecarim Cave and see if maybe we can find that gate key. Hecarim Cave is a nice dungeon. If you have at least one AoE, you'll get through it pretty quickly. And then, as long as you can fight Hecarim. Now, Hecarim doesn't take much damage from, like, physical sources. Like, almost any at all. So, us having Ayla with Tailspin actually means we're in a rare situation where we can hit him with that. So, this team can clear this dungeon pretty easily.
Yeah, and this whole dungeon is meant to teach you how to use magic. So everything takes damage from magic and has higher physical defense. There's a few enemies that have normal physical defense. But being a training dungeon, even the boss is not that difficult.
No, but this dungeon is notorious for just being a great source of early tech points. So that's going to let us unlock quite a few of our techniques here. We're really hoping for... Well, we've got Spin Cut, which means if we find Frog, we can have X Strike, which is pretty nice. Otherwise, I'd like to find early Luminaire for Chrono. Because Luminaire would give us a harder hitting magic spell for him. And I can start maybe giving him some magic tabs. Because Magus's castle is going to want us to hit really hard with AoE spells.
Taking every fight, huh?
Yeah, I'm taking... Because I know I can one-shot them all. I'm just grabbing the fights on the way through.
I forget how much these guys give.
Pretty decent
they're the
amount.
same as Temperates.
So
5 tech points each.
here I'm going to check how much it's actually going to benefit me. And it is going to benefit me because it would get me Cyclone, but that's not going to make a huge difference. And I'd rather get the tech doubling. Another rainbow. Oh. And a Nova armor. Okay. I'll take a Nova armor. Nova armor is one of the best armors in the game, and it gives status protection. Status protection isn't something that comes up a whole lot in this particular category. But there are a few fights that it can be really handy for. We're going directly into each character's heaviest hitting magic spell. And this fight usually doesn't take too long. Because he doesn't have a huge amount of HP. Now, this is a fight. I remember some of my friends having trouble with this fight in vanilla Chrono Trigger. Because if you don't play this fight careful, it can get out of control. In Jets, you're usually strong enough that it's not a huge problem.
Yeah, in vanilla Chrono Trigger, you're dealing damage with Ice 1, Fire 1, Lightning 1. And you're going through a couple cycles of Heckran's counterattack phases.
So I really want everyone to get the XP and tech points for this, so I'm going to waste a revive, and then I knew I could finish the fight with the next attack. And this is one of the few dungeons where you don't get the key item at the end of the dungeon. You actually get it after you leave here. And you go get it from Luca's dad, Tabin. And it's the Prism Shard, which we don't have Marl for. Alright. So we've got a couple other places we could go. We could go Thomas Pop, or we could go Dinodoro. I'm thinking Dinodoro Mountains because we have really solid single target damage, and I think we would do really well there. I don't think it's going to give us any trouble, so... It can be a pretty quick dungeon as well. Oh.
I like...
Oops.
I like to call this the mountain of running.
Yes.
That's all I do.
Yeah. This was the first dungeon I remember practicing until I had it down. Like, because a well-executed Dinodoro doesn't have a whole lot of fights in it if you're not picking up all the chests.
Yeah, it's just this fight is forced, and the next fight after this is forced. Then everything else is skippable until the boss.
Yeah, there's one other that's not skippable, but you can run from it. And it's at the top of this area here. But there are also huge time losses. Like, there's one skip in particular that costs you like 2.5 minutes if you accidentally push left on the controller. And we're just gonna run from that. Nothing these enemies are gonna drop, or the little amounts of XP they give is really gonna be worth the time. This is one of my favorite rooms, because it always feels like you just barely made it.
And the birds are like, hey, how's it going? Then the other bird's like, hey, wake up, and they're gone. Now, this little gauntlet, if you press just straight up or go right a little bit and around, the trigger is just to the left of where you start.
I've gotten a lot better at that skip there. I just did. And this guy wants to tell us that mountains are nice and then give us a magic tab. I don't know if... I still don't know if it's worth the time.
It all depends on what the magic tab rolls, because they can roll +1, 2, or 3. When it's 3, it's always a good time to grab that one.
Now you can one cycle this, but it's inconsistent, though it looks really cool when you nail it. The safe way is to wait for 2 rocks and then run for it.
And now we got a 2-part boss fight.
Yeah, and I don't have anything to cheese this first fight with. In some of your runs, you get lucky and you pull some things that could get you through it in just a couple attacks or without getting counterattacked. But you just have to take out one of them, and I ought to be able to do that in one player round.
Yeah, and each one of them have 1,000 hit points.
So at this point, I'm hoping for Gate Key, because I'm hoping that Frog is on Dactyl Nest. But we have a lot of key item checks available to us, and right now I'm really on the search for the Gate Key for that reason. Gate Key also gets us access to Mount Woe, and we have a team that would excel at Mount Woe and excel at fighting Rubbles. Rubbles are enemies found there that are just a ton of XP and tech points, and it would prepare us for like the entire rest of the run.
This fight is interesting with Chrono in the party, because you're supposed to slash to get rid of the charge attack, and slash is the second tech, so whatever is in Chrono's second tech can stop that attack from charging up.
We're doing
If
pretty
you let
solid
it get-
damage.
Yeah, otherwise you can just destroy this boss before it gets to that phase.
Get Magus a little bit more MP here. And Ayla can take a short break. I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
she can.
She's been working really hard, and I don't think she's gonna stay in the party. There we go. So there are a lot of key items that could be here. It could be Hero's Medal, which is an incredible piece of equipment for Frog that also doubles as a fetch quest, a very fast fetch quest that just gets you another key item. So that would be pretty great if then that got us to wherever Frog is. But it could also be the Robo Ribbon, which just powers up Robo, who we're not using. Could be Gate Key, could be Jerky. Oh, it is Jerky.
Could be Jerky, like you just said.
You never hope it's Jerky. Jerky is a high tier loot drop, but it's not a key item and it's not progression. Now, what would I really want besides a Doom Sickle from Jerky? But
A
we're
Wonder
right
Shot.
here. Well, a Wonder Shot's not going to help us without Luca. But, it's not going to take long to check Jerky real quick, and it could be worth it. Prism specs. There's really a pretty short list of things that would make me really excited here.
Let's see what it is.
Prism
Prism
Helm.
Helm.
That's not bad.
No, it's one of the best defensive helms in the game.
Yeah, like I said, not bad. Alright, so where do we want to go next is the question. We could definitely go Thomas Pop. So we got to go pour one out for Toma here. Yeah, I also pulled a Kali Blade for my Chrono sword collection I'm working on.
Because Chrono can never have enough swords. Yeah, he has like 18 something swords. And that's not counting the DS version sword.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because he didn't have enough, so they had to give him one more.
I always try to fly and land where I can land on this island. I almost never get it perfect. Today is the day!
Yes.
Yes! This dungeon almost made me tear my hair out the first time I had it required in a Jets of Time seed. And I left that seed and studied this map, and I was like, I will never ever have trouble with this dungeon again. I will not allow it.
Yeah, and you even made a category that requires this dungeon.
No, not this one. Not Thomas Pop.
The Rock?
Oh, yeah. You're right. I forget about Rock Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way. But yeah, one of the triple tech rocks is housed here. I made a category where you try to collect all the triple tech rocks. I actually think it's a lot of fun, but it needs some changes made to it. Now, getting that rock is always a waste of time in a Legacy of Cyrus run, because there are no triple techs that use Magus and Frog. So we are just running through this dungeon. I promise you there are encounters throughout this dungeon. But hopefully we won't see any of them. Now these are those rubbles we talked about earlier. There's another set of them here. And we're checking for if anybody would get tech point doubling from getting 50 XP. Now Magus was 57 or 58 XP away from learning his next tech, which means he would get a bunch of extra XP if we fight both of these. Or a bunch of extra
Chrono,
tech points.
Chrono with that weapon should be able to take these out.
Need one more good hit from somebody that's not Magus. There we go. So see, we actually got more than tech point doubling because Magus just learned 2 techs. So what happens with the tech point doubling is, let's say Magus is in that instance he was 8 tech points away from learning his next tech, and we got him 50. So it fills up, it puts the 50 in, and then it sees that it unlocked the next tech. So then it's like, okay, well, I need to put these tech points back in. So it puts 50 in again. So you end up with, you pretty much got 8 for free. Well, that 50 got us our next tech. So we actually got 2 techs. So we got a bunch of tech points for free. Man, it felt like he waited so long to roar.
He did wait on that one.
That was kind of strange. I gotta say, these techs are garbage. These techs are garbage on these characters.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Spin Cut will get us through this.
This boss typically has something around 8,000 hit points.
Yeah, and I'm getting somewhere in the ballpark of 1,500 per player round. Maybe a little bit higher. I think we win the race. So Chrono did...
Part of the race is MP usage too.
That's... You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But we're not at that part of the race yet. Okay, we're at that part of the race now. I always feel kind of bad for this boss. Like, he just wants to get out and stretch his legs. He's been trapped down here for a really long time. Ever since that turtle smacked into him.
Give him a very long extended life to where he rusted.
Yeah, exactly.
Got his treasure behind him, and now these adventurers want that treasure.
I'm preparing here in case this doesn't go. In case I don't win this race.
And Rust Tyranno can have any of the 5 elements and basically nuke you with either very strong fire, lightning, shadow.
Ooh, this is dangerous, guys. This is dangerous. Oh, there it is.
Oh, you just eked it out.
And there is some tech doubling for Ayla. Man, that's gonna
Now
make...
you got a good tech for the fight.
Yeah, now I've got the one I would have liked. Triple cake. Okay, that's Hero's Medal. That's a good find. Could it be a great find?
Well, to turn it in, we also see who's at Burrow.
That's true. Let's find out. So, like we said, Hero's Medal is an amazing piece of equipment for Frog that also serves as a key to another key item, which is right here. There's Marl, so we better not need that prism shard we found earlier.
We cannot need that prism shard.
We could if it held gate key, but we just found the gate key. So this is perfect to me, because what that means is at the same time with that, we just found another great piece of equipment for Frog. We found where Frog is going to be, which is prehistory. And we unlocked a dungeon, which is Mount Woe, that will give Frog all the tech points he needs for the rest of the run. So, this is a pretty good scenario to be in.
It is. And we know where all of the characters are now.
So all we have to do now is we have to find both pieces of the sword. And there are a few different places that could be. But we know we're not going to need Prism Shard, which is really nice to know.
Yeah, that is very nice to know.
So instead of running down the mountains here, I'm just going to jump back in, which unlocks the end of time. And then I'll go get my ship, and we'll just fly there. It is a little bit faster.
And if we did not have magic unlocked, we would also unlock magic. But since Legacy of Cyrus has unlocked magic, we just fly around and learn everything.
Come on. Gonna pick up these tabs while we're here. Alright, let's go get our frog.
Oh yeah, there's one sealed area we don't go to anymore, and that's that blue pyramid.
Yeah, it's 45 seconds. If you want to check it and have a... if it's something useless. So, it's just not worth that for one item.
Yeah, no, it's not worth it.
So this dungeon is kind of neat. It just reward of a character, which is going to be Frog in this seed, because we know who's in Burrow, and that means Luca has to be in the future, which is inaccessible. So,
my girl Luca.
so there's a couple skips in this dungeon that are really precise, and hopefully I will hit one of them. That'd be nice, I think. I do have Ayla first, which is pretty great, because I've got something I watch for visually for the second skip that works if you have Ayla. So... yeah, I knew that was only 1 pixel. That was 2. So I need to move over 2 pixels. And second try's not god-awful on that.
Yeah, second try is still faster than running from that fight.
That's it. You want Ayla's toe to be 1 pixel off. So that was actually pretty incredible. I got that really fast, I think. And there's our frog. So I don't know for sure who's staying, but I think it's probably Chrono. So what does Frog know? Oh, Frog has leap slash, and frog squash, and he's learning heal. This is perfect. So we're gonna equip Frog up, and now Frog is about to become unstoppable. So I'm gonna do Nova Armor, Hero's Medal. Oh, +4 power tabs. Here you go, Frog.
Oh.
Okay.
Alright, now time to find that broken sword stuff.
Yep, but first we are going to go ahead and do Cyrus's grave.
Yeah, that'll give Frog 10 power and 2 speed.
Yep, and this is one of the 3 things we have to complete to finish this run. And the plus speed will be kind of nice for, I mean, it'll save us time the rest of the run, for the most part. We want to save right outside here, because there's always a chance you wipe in here. The enemies in here, you can kill them in one shot, but they each have, what did we decide? It's a 50% chance they use a counterattack, and it's a 50% chance which one they use. Is that right? I want to say it's something like that. So whenever you kill these guys, they can use one counterattack that just takes away all your MP, or they can use Grudge, which this one's demonstrating for me, which just does a massive amount of damage to one of your characters. Well, the last fight in this area is against 4 of that enemy. What that means is if you get unlucky and they use Grudge 3 times, you wipe. Oh man, they really don't like Chrono today. Alright, this is the one that matters. And we just go for it. Everyone cross your fingers. And we are safe. Perfect. Chrono didn't need XP anyway, I guess. But that is perfect, because that is all the fighting we're going to have to do here. So the next part is we go and we pay the carpenter. And now he will fix all the floor downstairs. And we can get to the grave, and that's where we get Frog's power up. Oh. So now we can enter back here, and we can start this cutscene. The last 2 things we have to do for this run to be complete, we have to finish Magus's castle, and we have to then beat Ozzy's fort. And that is the final area of this run. And I always see this as like a narrative, this category. So it's Frog and Magus putting aside their differences and all their past. Magus brings Frog here to, settle everything, get some closure. And then they go and they take Magus's castle back and stop Ozzy.
The true villain is Ozzy.
Yes. And whoever took Magus's house. Which, if anybody wants to guess, who do you think is in Magus's castle? Because it's random. It could be Magus. It could be any of the party members. So be thinking who you think it might be.
And the party member also dictates what the nuke element is at the end also.
So we are going to go straight to the Dark Ages. I'm feeling Mount Woe. We've got hit rings out the wazoo. Perfect.
Now looking at the locations, there's not too much left.
No, we have desert available to us. We have Mount Woe. We have, we did Thomas Pop. We have Reptite Lair.
Tyranno layer, or Reptite layer.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So it's a pretty good chance of finding one. And if you don't find one, you know where the other two are.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think we are down to those last 3 checks.
And this is a normal Legacy of Cyrus run, going through every possible check there is.
Yeah, Legacy of Cyrus is really interesting because it has reduced checks, but because it has reduced checks compared to like a normal Jets of Time run, it also requires more of them be done in most seeds. There's X-Strike. Goodbye, every boss we see from now on. Because we're about to see the full power of X-Strike here, I think.
Yeah, we are.
With the
Powered
Grand
up
Leon.
frog.
Yeah, exactly. Grand Leon powered it up. Heroes Metal Frog and Rainbow Chrono with power tabs. All we need is Prism specs. If we get Prism specs, I think we one-shot everything.
Yeah. The only thing I think we cannot one-shot is bosses over 5,000 hit points.
We definitely grab this first one because it gets us tech doubling on 2 characters. And it gets us closer to Frog learning Heal, which is really the last spell we need out of him. So, well, that should do. Good work, Chrono. You should have started with that. There's a skip there. I like Mount Woe. I think it's a really fun dungeon. There are some annoying skips you have to do, but it's not too bad. And you almost always get amazing loot for your trouble. So we want to fight at least 2 more rebels. I want to take up the one up this chain because there's 2 high tier chests up there as well. So it just makes it a little bit more worth the time. And there's still a couple Chrono swords I don't have yet, so I'd like to pull a couple more of those. Oh, okay. There's Shiva's Edge.
There. You said you wanted Chrono Sword. There you go.
Yeah, I did. I literally said I wanted another Chrono sword, and I found another one. That's great. We can put that in the shelf just below the 3 other rainbows I pulled. And there's Anti-Life and Luminaire. So I don't think there's going to be much else we need except Dark Matter, which unfortunately we're probably not going to get. We need 900 tech points for Magus to learn it, and that's probably just not going to happen.
To get that final tech, it's a bit of grinding to get there.
Yeah, especially on Magus. That'll hurt us a little bit, but we should be okay, because we have Chrono with Luminaire and Frog with Water 2. Not like my first options, but they should be fine. We're going to be running from a lot of the fights here, because outside the Rebels, there's not a whole lot that's like worth the time to actually fight. And that Rebel didn't even want to fight.
It said, leave me alone.
I'm trying to sleep. Nice. Still don't understand why Chrono doesn't just start with the crit, and we can be done with the fight.
He wants to check to see how tough it is first.
Oh, I see. Magic Seal really isn't too bad. I'll probably put Magic Seal on Chrono for those times that I am going to have to Luminaire later this run. It could make a pretty big difference on his damage. Trying to figure out... Okay, it is tech doubling on Frog. I don't know that we need any more... that there are any more techs we have to have for Frog, but I'm sure there's a couple things that would be kind of handy. So, and we're killing these rebels really quickly with this team. Everyone but Chrono has a really solid weapon. Or everyone but Magus, not Chrono. Unfortunately, none of them know how to hit a rock with it. So if you don't know, if you don't hit these for a while, they will run away, which is the worst feeling in the world, because then you're like, oh, I wasted a lot of time on that, and I didn't even get anything for it. So we are almost done on Woe. It's a pretty quick dungeon. We did a little bit of extra grinding on the way up. But it's a pretty quick dungeon if you don't need to grind. But we also kind of made the decision to come here based off the idea of getting Frog all powered up. And now we re-equip everybody. I actually really like gold earrings on Magus. And I am going to go Magic Seal on Chrono. And make sure I healed, and we are good.
Yeah, those earrings is accessory I never really use myself.
I like the extra HP because it just lessens the number of times that you have to like worry about healing Magus to keep him alive. Magus's biggest weakness is that he doesn't have a whole lot of health.
Yeah, I turn my characters into glass cannons.
Yeah. So the other thing we need to do in chat here is hope that something useful is on WoW, because if we get done with this and it is something completely useless like Robo Ribbon, it's not good.
Yeah, even with all of that awesome gear that is up here, or could be up here, it's a big time sink if nothing good is up on the top.
Look at that X strike, 2,500 damage. I'm gambling a little bit here.
Yeah, you are.
All
because
right.
that dark mist is not going to take out those hands.
No, I don't think I need to take out the hands.
Yeah, the hands have 2,000 hit points.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take out the head. There he goes.
There you go.
I knew I was close, and I wanted to take the chance.
Yeah, you did just enough because it has 8,000 hit points.
Yep. I have fought that boss a lot. Me and him have a mutual respect back and forth.
Yeah, Megas had to do those 2 dark mists for it to work like that.
And now we find out if it was worth it. It was worth it. Been
It
helped.
was.
Okay. My gut is saying Reptite next. And it's saying Reptite because we have incredible physical attack and lightning on Magus, which means we'll probably like one-shot Nizbal. So there are a couple fights that are unavoidable here, but we're going to be avoiding all the other ones. We are good. Because we went and did that extra dungeon, we are all set on... I think this should kill. But I want to
It
queue up
should.
X-Strike. Nice. I wanted to queue up X-Strike so that my memory cursor is set where I want it for Nizbal. And for this clown. Yeah, 50% chance the other sword piece is here. It's either... I think Robo's Ribbon is in the seed. So I think it's either going to be Robo's Ribbon or the other sword piece. The other sword piece unlocks Magus's castle, and then we're in what we call go mode, which means we have everything we need to finish the seed, and it's just a matter of finishing those last couple dungeons. So I messed up that skip, but I'm not super worried about it. I probably should have just left the chest. Well, that should kill him. That should kill the Megasaur.
Okay, just want to cut in really quick, and I have a big announcement. Procky has just donated 42 USD. Thank you so much for what you do. And with that, we've hit over our goal of $1,000. Thank you so much, everybody, for what you're doing. We're actually making a difference with this. Thank you very much, Procky.
Thank you, Procky. Procky was supposed to be on commentary with me tonight. He's the one that introduced me to this event, and we did a race last year. So unfortunately, he had some tech issues, but I'm also super happy to have Aku here, because me and him do a lot of these types of categories racing against each other. So... So it's nice to have somebody that knows a lot about the run.
I'm practicing and working on Frog Flare strats for this whole run.
Yeah, there's some new tech coming out and some new finds, so it's been an exciting time. And you're about to see Nizbol go down quick.
Yeah, this should be a really quick fight.
I think I'll two-shot him. Like, I'll do this, X strike, and it'll be over. If even that. That'll do it. That'll do it.
Yeah, nice quick Nizbel fight.
Yeah, now was it worth it? Yes!
Nice.
It's worth it. I took a lot of chances, and I got pretty lucky on this seed, frankly. Mount Woe. I've had Mount Woe pay off twice this week. It never pays off.
Yeah, I've seen Jerky up top there quite a bit.
We're just selling a bunch of stuff that I know I can't use. Because we could use some lapises. Alright, so we are in what we call go mode. What that means is we just have to go fix the sword, and then we can start Magus' Castle. Magus' Castle is one of the longest dungeons in the game, but it's also one that I have a fair amount of practice at, so... There's a few rooms in particular in Magus' Castle that I'm really proud of. So hopefully you guys will get to see some well-executed LOC strats and skips. Pit room being the room I'm most proud of, because I am incredibly consistent at running through that area.
Yeah, and I got my own way of how I run through that room, but we all have our little ways of doing things.
That's part of what makes it so fun, is, you know, you could show me a run, and there are certain things I would notice in the run that would let me know if it was you running, or Kiyu, or Moon Blizzard, or who it is. Everybody has their own little ways of doing things, like you said. So get ready for the coolest cutscene. I very easily could have gone desert too. X Strike would have made chump change of oh man, what's that boss's name? Retinite.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when X-Strike does not miss.
Yes, that's a really good point. Dual techs do not have the ability to miss in Chrono Trigger, which is a really big advantage for them. Alright, this is what we have been working towards. In just a minute. We're actually going to make 2 stops real quick. Oh, I was trying to skip that fight. We're going to do 2 things real quick. I want to go buy shelters. And then I want to get a garbage gun for Luca, a character I don't have. Oh, man. Alright. That's about right. I don't remember if this guy had shelters. I think he did, though.
Yeah, I never remember what's in the shops after a while.
I try to remember one shop, and it's a shop usually that has Mid-Tonics Ethers shelters. Uh, Sometimes I'll try to remember revives as well. But like there's a guaranteed shop of revives, so I don't waste a whole lot of energy on it, on trying to remember. I'm really hoping Chrono's magic stat is going to be good enough to get me through this area without a whole lot of trouble. But we're also going to be skipping about every fight we can. We're in a really good power level. So here's just a question I was thinking about earlier. So, Aku, do you have a favorite boss in Jets of Time? Like, who's your favorite boss? Like, coolest design, or you think they're funny, or... Because
Every once in a while I try to think of that, but I just don't know who it would be in this game.
Mine is Giga Gaia, who we just took down a while ago. He's such a funny boss. He's so goofy looking, but he's supposed to be like this big daunting boss because he's like the size of Mount Woe. Like, he's massive. But he's got like this dumb look on his face, and he's I don't know. He's just hilarious to me. But chat, I would love to know who's your favorite boss from any video game. And now we enter the house of 100 enemies. Oh, we have Luminaire too. I could have used. Nice. So Magus's Castle is a very long dungeon, but if we do a few things right, we can shave off quite a bit of time. I always say Magus's Castle is one of those dungeons I think new players should focus on early, because a good Magus Castle and a bad Magus Castle, there's like a 20-minute difference between the two.
Yeah, there is. It's a humongous difference. Knowing the skips, learning them all, and what fights you can run from.
And that you can run from fights. I know a lot of people that don't even know that.
Yeah, it's talked about only once in the vanilla game. And if you don't remember it from the very beginning, you just forget that you can do it.
So there, I'm just refilling Chrono's magic because I knew I used Luminaire on him, and it's a very expensive spell. And I want to show him X-Strike because I'm very proud of it. That should do it. So Anti-Life is a spell that was added to Magus. Magus had a spell called Black Hole in the original game, and it has it created some soft lock situations, as well as just not being terribly useful to begin with, and it was just more trouble than it was worth to keep around. And so it's been replaced in Jets of Time with this spell called Anti-Life that does a massive amount of single target damage. But it kills Magus in the process. It plays pretty well. It's interesting. But we're gonna mostly like that's one of those spells that different players use it in different ways. Some people like to like do revive combos with it and stuff, where like you just anti-life revive, anti-life revive. I tend to use it more as like an execute. Once I know their health is below however much I think it'll do, I'll use it to finish the boss. There's quite a few different ways you can use the spell.
Yeah, and I tend to use it as an execute myself.
I think that's the safer way to use it. And also, I'm not convinced at how... It's a lot of animation time. This could be really bad strategy by me. But it looks like I'm okay. Yeah, I thought that would kill, but I wanted to give him a little magic if it didn't. So those are the two bosses that kind of open up the rest of Magus's castle. And this is where the dungeon, I think, gets a bit more interesting. Because there's some really weird skips in this dungeon that involve, like, walking around statues a certain way or things like that. So this room, you can run from, I think, the first two fights, and then later on in the dungeon, it's the opposite. So
This room you can run from all the fights.
Is it all of them?
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing that because we want to save time. We're coming up on about an hour and a half in. And there's not a whole lot of run left. We've got everything we need to finish this run. Magus's castle, we're like a quarter of the way through. And then we have a pretty long boss waiting for us at the end of this. And then Ozzy's Fort is an incredibly quick dungeon, taking somewhere in the ballpark of 5 or so minutes, I would say.
About that.
Maybe
typically.
8 if you're there really early or something. So this is a new route I've been working on, and I messed it up already. Oh, I think I'm back on time, though. Man, I'm really bad at this today.
Oh, yeah. One good thing is those guillotines do not drop you to 0, just down to 1 at most.
Yeah, and that should be fine.
And as long as you're not moving, the roly-polies will not trigger an attack.
Pit room. Boom! Every time with that.
Yep.
Every time with that. Oh, I messed that up, though. This is not a room I'm very good at, so... Nice. That's one of 2 hard skips in this room. Nice.
Yeah, that bird will walk off to the side when it hits your third party member.
That room is so much harder than you guys think it is right now. I'm probably at 1 health on my whole party.
Well, we will see right now.
Oh, nope, just Chrono. Why couldn't it be... Why couldn't it be anybody else?
Why couldn't Frog be at 1 hit
Right,
point?
that's what I mean. If Frog was at 1, it would be useful to us. And he was at the head of my party. I'll have to show you that sometime. But, I have been working on, a route through that room, and it's pretty consistent. Oof. Just push through this fight real quick, and then... There we go. Yeah, no, this is a team I really like with X-Strike. And wait till you see the Magus Castle fight, because then it's like a whole different beast. This is one of those teams that changes the entire way you fight that boss. There is one fight in this room that I am gonna take because I want to show, kind of a neat strategy, and it's this juggler fight. So these jugglers can be annoying because it can be hard to tell if they're in physical or magical defense. So what I'll do is I'll take Frog, and I'll do a Frog Squash, which hits for physical. Now, it's not going to do very much damage, but then that'll let me use, like, Dark Mist afterwards, and I know they're on physical defense now. And, oh, it wasn't enough to kill. So then we can Frog Squash again. But that can be really useful. Usually, if you have the right team, you can make sure it'll kill in one cycle. I could have done that, I think, if I had used Luminaire instead of Dark Mist. But it can be pretty handy to switch them between physical and magical barriers. Alright, we are getting to the end of Magus's castle. And this is that room where walking around the statues just makes none of these fights trigger. I was able to kind of lag out that door and run in. There's another method you can use where you like slide up the doorway, but I find this method tends to work for me. I open that chest and I use that lag to push through. So here we'd have to attack these switches that open different pits in the floor. Just like that. And we're getting blue vests for our trouble. Blue vests might be helpful if Magus is Marl. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, Marl or Frog.
Or Frog, yeah. So the fight after this is kind of the final boss of the run. Somebody I was talking to this week made a really good observation. They said in a Legacy of Cyrus run, your party decides if Magus or Ozzy, Slash, and Flea are going to be the final boss of the run. I don't remember who it was that said that, but
I think I said something like that.
Yeah, it might have been you.
Yeah, it's either Magus as the final fight or the Ozzy trio fight.
Yeah. And it's all, like, with this team, I don't think I'm going to have trouble with either of them.
Yeah, you really shouldn't.
I also think there's a beta change in this seed that you might not be aware of, Aku.
What's that?
A change to the Grand Leon. And it is our friend Marl, so we are going to take just a moment to put on some blue vests.
I have not heard of any change in the beta for the Grand Leon.
I actually want to have kind of a good spread of absorption, so I think I'm going to go with that. So the Grand Leon, being the upgraded Masamune, I believe now lowers the magical defense like the regular Masamune does.
It does. Nice.
Don't blink and don't go get a drink. This is the fight that's going to decide how this goes. And I don't think it's going to be a very long fight, frankly. There's a reason we picked up some lapises, and it was for seeing this.
Yeah. Yeah, with Magus tossing lapises, the other two can just X-strike.
Yep. And this is, I mean, this is best case scenario X-Strike. I don't want you guys to think that, like, X-Strike is super broken in this fight or something. I think X-Strike is strong now with the buff, but I don't think it's broken or anything, and it's very situational. I'm just going to go ahead and Lapis one more time, because I think it's going to be an X-Strike and an Anti-Life. I'm not quite to the halfway point of the boss yet.
And Frog does pair well with any of the party members that can be on the third spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of completely valid options. Alright, you ready? This should finish.
Yeah, when there's no counter attack, the Magus character is setting up for the devastating spell.
Boom. There goes the Magus. So this run has probably 10 minutes or less left to go, as long as everything goes smoothly in this final dungeon. So now that we've finished Magus's castle, we just have to go to Ozzy's fort and stop Ozzy.
Yep, Ozzy retreated to his fort after the Magus character went down. So now we gotta finish that up.
Let's go. Always save here, no matter how strong you feel, because all it takes is a misclick for sometimes for this fight to get out of control. You would never, ever want to have to refight Magus from a mistake like that. So I hope you guys like X-Strike and Anti-Life. Because, boy, do I have a treat for you. X-Strike probably will kill. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, they do not have too much hit points here.
Yeah. To show you the power of X-Strike, I cut this flea in half. I always thought this scene was so funny as a kid. He puts these enemies down and they just immediately like fall down the pit. Alright, now we get to Slash. And I suspect Slash will go about the same way. I don't think he's gonna like X Slash any more than anyone else liked X Slash. Nope. They have about 2,500 HP, both of those bosses.
Yeah, it is 2,500.
And I am just running through. And this is going to be our final boss. In this next room, we fight all three of them at once. Slash, Flea, and Ozzy. That is not our last fight of the run. We'll have one more fight after this, but we are just a couple minutes from the end of this run. Frog says, I'll take 28 damage, that's fine.
Yep. Yeah, this fight can be really interesting.
This fight can be hard with certain teams, and if you're here early. So once we kill Slash, it's just a matter of doing enough damage to Ozzy here now. And
Yeah,
that shouldn't take long at all.
Ozzy has 0 attacks by himself. It's all triple attacks.
But that should get him. Ooh, mermaid cap. That could come in handy later in the run.
Yeah, for that ice attack that Ozzy has.
Alright, so time comes when the cat flips the switch. It won't be until after we come back here in just a second. But the cat will walk up and he'll flip the switch on the right and you'll hear it click, and that's when time goes. And I'll have... this is going to be a pretty good run. And I appreciate you guys all coming out, hanging out. I love the ending to this run. I think it's hilarious how it ends. It's as soon as it hits the switch here. Alright, so that is a 143.08. I think it was a little bit above that, but I had to hit my splits multiple times. Yeah, 143.05 looks right. So, yeah, so that is Legacy of Cyrus. It's a really interesting category. It's a little bit more closed off with interesting decisions and really interesting party decisions, I think. So,
Here, turn it down a little bit.
yeah, so that is Legacy of Cyrus. And we got our special ending added into the end of the game here that shows what Frog and Magus do after. Thanks for the GGs in chat. And thank you to the host and all the staff that helped out with the event. I love being a part of Game Over Cancer every year. I've done a few of them now. And hopefully I get to keep coming back and showing off different categories and runs. And hopefully you guys had a good time.
Of course, thank you so much